All right, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. If you're listening and if you're watching to the video series, Today's Progress, Yesterday's Plan. If you listened to last week's episode, you'd realize it was the first episode. I still didn't have a name for this series, and the direction exactly that I'm heading is still being developed. And I'm counting on you on a lot of that there so you can help me out. But I went with Today's Progress, Yesterday's Plan. If you listened to the last episode, you heard that I am intending to use this as an accountability series, also for a series of progress, of making things happen. So I heard that, I changed it a little bit, and I thought it works. Today's progress, yesterday's plan. And so hopefully as it develops, we start to have some great conversations. I'm hoping to have some guests on in the future. This is barely the second episode, so I'm hoping maybe by the fifth episode we could have a guest, maybe starting in January as we're approaching 2021, which everybody's looking for. Hopefully we could get some guests, maybe a monthly guest. By the end of the month or maybe by the beginning of the month, I'd like to have a guest on with some conversations, maybe get your input on what you'd like to hear, who you'd like to see, and so on. So I'm leaning towards the end of the month. So again, thanks for tuning in, thanks for listening, and let's catch up where we left off. Hopefully you visited the first episode. If so, I hope you were inspired. I hope you had your week going. I hope your to-do list is balanced. I hope it's filled up as well as been marked off on all your tasks. I like that phrase there of balancing your to-do list, because we always want to check things off on our to-do list, but as much as we want to check them off, I think it's a great thing to add things as well. So as you're checking them off, they're filling back up. I have my calendar in front of me, and I see all my bullet points, for the most part, checked off. There's a lot of them that I've moved into other areas or to a later date, and some that have been crossed off, maybe to be revisited later. This week has been a really busy week for me. I don't know about you guys, but I've been doing a lot of editing this week. I've mentioned in the past episode that I do what's called SMTs. Somebody asked me what an SMT is, and to give you guys a quick explanation, an SMT is a satellite media tour, and it's a television segment where experts come on as expert guests for different TV stations, TV shows, news shows, and they do a short segment on their expertise. So for example, right now, because we're in the holidays, I'm editing a ton of holiday gift guide segments. So different experts come on and they have brand partnerships with some really cool brands for the most part, and they have a layout, they have a gift list, and they speak about them. The interesting thing is that when you see these segments, they're very short. They're about 2 to 3 minutes, and they speak on the points of each of the different gifts. In this case, technology. I've been seeing things like Oculus Rift, the iRobot vacuum, things like, Mario Kart for Nintendo Switch, different items. But my point is that these experts speak about them back to back, meaning they have let's say 20, maybe 30 segments lined up. And they do these on interviews nowadays, a lot of them are done via Zoom. They used to be done via satellite and phone call, where the reporter or the station would call in to this expert, and this expert would be on a set with a crew and everybody videotaping and producing their segment, which they'll later send to the news stations or the TV stations that are running the segments to be edited. So nowadays, Zoom and Skype have dominated in communications and what we're doing for SMTs. So I think I've been editing about, now with the holidays, I think 4 to 5 segments per week. And it's cool. It's really cool because it's been very inspiring for me. I mentioned in the last episode, I'm on a journey to become a host I'm on a journey that I want to become a host or spokesperson. And that little fumble I just did kind of doesn't help the journey, right? Wrong. It helps me because I'm practicing, and that's why I'm here in front of you guys and speaking to you. And so your feedback, again, is very appreciated. But these SMTs have been very inspiring for me because I see these experts and see how they perform on camera, see the amount of knowledge they have of the topics, the products that they're speaking of, and I have a newfound appreciation for it as it develops because it's hard. It's hard speaking to an audience and to a camera and staying on point. Most of them are done live to tape, meaning it's a live interview, but it's going to be edited. So if there's mistakes, no worries. And some of them are done live to the studio. And that's a very cool goal I have. Live is like scary, right? You can't mess up and things like that. But yeah, so my week, I've been marking off some cool stuff. Little tasks as well. Things like creating thumbnails, updating blog posts, creating press releases, things like that, which are always kind of added as they come. And those tasks are tedious. They add up, but they're simple, so I knock them out. One thing I'm happy with for doing this series is throwing in personal projects, or what we call sometimes passion projects. And I know we all have them because those ideas you get when you're in the shower or when you're walking down the street and you get a cool idea, that becomes a passion project. And it's something that hopefully you can follow through. Myself personally as well, I have a lot of them, a lot of ideas. I have books that I write in and put my ideas down. But as of lately, I've been trying to really focus more on getting it done and doing these passion projects. So this series is one of them. And I'm on 2 of 2 right now, and I'm excited for that. One thing that I kind of want to ask you guys listening and watching is, what do you think about, I guess some people refer it to manifestation, or, the law of attraction is a popular law or topic that people follow. I actually believe in it very strongly, but I think that if we put our passion projects forward and we speak them and we put them out there, I think it helps to accomplish those things that we really put our focus in. And a good example of that, I think, is for the longest time, up to more recently, I've kind of been like a quiet person on ideas or plans, right? And I would tell myself and I would reason that I do that because I don't want to give my ideas away or tell people what I'm working on until it's being developed and being processed. That way, you don't speak too soon. And I think that that's kind of been hurting me in a sense. I think it's kind of been a little excuse, an excuse to, if I don't do it, then I never spoke about it, like no big deal. So I'm kind of on the note of, shit, you got to speak about it and you got to put it out there, because if you put it out there, one, you're like proclaiming what you want. You're like an affirmation, right? You're saying what you want. You can attract to you the things that may help you there. And back to accountability. If you put it out there, you're going to be more likely to work on it and develop it, because I don't know about you, I don't like to say something and then not follow through or accomplish it. So in a way, I'm going to start speaking out more with the things I want to accomplish. So on that note, this week, I've mentioned, again, I think for these first episodes, I'm going to be speaking a lot about the hosting journey I want to pursue. And this week, I had a really cool 90-minute workshop that I participated in with Nicole Sellers in the TV Hosting Academy. And it was focused around branding yourself and creating the materials that you need to pursue a career like this. Things, for example, like your demo reel. Things like your resume, how your resume should look for the types of jobs that you're applying for. And things like headshots, different profiles you should have. So I had a lot of takeaways from this workshop, and it got my gears turning, and it got me in that mode of, okay, any free time I have, I need to put it towards my passion project. And so that workshop ended off with a 5-day challenge. So come Monday, I have to turn this in, and we have to submit our resume formatted to how we learn, find our clips, put together a demo reel, find our headshots, put them together, and create an EPK, an electronic press kit, which we should be sending to agents or casting directors. And I'm going to do that. Like, I put it out there, I'm going to do it, and Monday I'm going to submit it, and I hope I win because there's a very cool prize. We don't know what it is, but there's a prize for it. So even if I don't win the prize, by completing it and submitting it, I think I win. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really excited about being part of this small group, coaching us. And yeah, so stay tuned, guys. Hopefully this develops into something. Another thing that kind of leads to is learning confidence. I mean, for me, it's hard to turn those things in because confidence, I think no, I shouldn't say that, because there's some people that are super confident. And that's what I'm kind of striving for, is finding that inner confidence that helps put our materials out too. So I think this goes on a lot of levels, whether it's you trying to excel in business, whether you're trying to be more creative, and like in my case, trying to put out content of myself. I mean, you need to be confident in yourself, because it comes off. For one, it comes off. If you're not confident, it's not going to help you. And two, I think if we're not confident enough, we limit what we can accomplish. Why? Because I'm not going to put something out that I don't feel 100% confident about, or I'm not satisfied with, then I'm never going to put content out, right? So right now, I wasn't saying I'm struggling with that. I should say I think I'm overcoming that. I'm getting a lot better at accepting who I am, accepting and realizing my gifts, and putting it out there, and just being confident enough to put it out there and know that it's just going to get better. So trust me, when you're editing yourself, and those of you that do that totally understand me, if you're listening to your own voice, if you're seeing yourself on camera and editing your content, man, it makes it even harder to put that stuff out, because we're our biggest critic. And if you're editing your own footage, man, you're going to criticize the heck out of it, right? So I've been getting better at that. And hopefully you start noticing that I'm going to be putting out more content and trying to push myself to put more content out there. Let me take a deep breath here. Listen, and for you guys too listening, let's take deep breaths. It's hard for me. I mentioned in the last episode the whole breathing thing. I'm because I'm using a condenser mic, so I'm speaking pretty close to it, and when I breathe deep breaths, I don't want to breathe in the mic and you guys hear it and be like, dude, this guy. But man, me rambling really makes me lose my breath. Let's see, some other things that I realized this week, like moving forward. I think I mentioned that I want to have guests. I mentioned in the opening of the episode here is that I look forward to having guests and some cool conversations. Just during the weeks on phone calls that I jump on, or Zoom calls, I have some really cool conversations with people where I'm exchanging feedback, insights, listening to what my friends and colleagues are working on. And it's very inspiring to hear those things. So I would love to have some of them on, and so I can record some of those conversations and then share conversations with you guys. This week I spoke to a friend of mine. His name is Jeff Cortez. He is a creator. Look for him on, Instagram, Facebook, and especially his YouTube channel. Check out some of his content. I'm really excited for all my friends that I work with. We're all developing content and putting new content out there, investing in ourselves, buying equipment, self-learning, and investing in, education for ourselves and learning techniques. So I'm very excited for all my buddies, and I hope to have them on as well. But I spoke with my buddy Jeff Cortez, and we were talking about landing gigs, right? Working as freelancers and trying to speak to potential clients, speaking to leads. And the topic that came up in that conversation was an interesting topic that has come up a lot throughout the years of freelancing, is how to charge clients, and specifically how to charge clients and not scare them away, which is kind of funny because you would think if you're working in this industry and someone's going to invest in their brand or their product, for whether it's marketing or creative content, they should have an understanding of what they're getting themselves into, and it's an actual investment. And so a lot of times we hear the whole, well, you're going to get exposure, or I'm just starting, I don't have a big budget, but we're going to do a lot more, and I'm looking forward to that. And that's all fun and could be helpful theoretically, but I think the culture of us trying to get value for what we get kind of defeats that purpose, because we actually never get out of it. Once you start doing things for a lower cost or a lower rate or for free, no matter how valuable it is, it's really hard to convince somebody to now it's time to pay up, because we get comfortable in those things. And it's like, oh, well, shoot, now I have to, fork up the money. I think people don't like to do that subconsciously, even though they said they're going to. So we had that conversation of how to approach clients like that or a deal like that. And one of the things that I mentioned to him is to really value his time, to value our time, me to value my own time. And how do we value our time? Is it, in this case, monetary value? Is it just the supply of time? How much time do we have? How much do we value it? And I think an important takeaway with that is that our time is very important and it's very valuable. And there should be a certain amount that we charge, whatever field you're in, whatever. If you're working for hourly rate, then you for sure grasp the concept of value of time and the value of your time. If you're freelancing, I think it's a little bit harder to find that value or realize that value is there, because we're always working on like maybe one-off projects and maybe like flat rate projects. And if you're doing that, I hope you really can do an audit of your time that you spend on projects and find a way to put a monetary value on your time. And that's like putting an hourly rate on your time. Now, in the field that we're in, that I'm in a creative field or whatever field you're in, we have to think of ourselves as experts in that field, and really that not many people or anybody can do it. So to your rate and to your time, you want to add a value on top of that for your knowledge, for the education you went through, for the skills you learned, for the things that you know that others don't. That's on top of what your time should be worth. Not just your time, but your time plus the value of your work and your knowledge. And that's different for everybody. So I can't really say that there's an average rate or this is what you should charge, whoever you may be, but I think it should help you figure that out, right? Other things you could take into consideration, especially as freelancers, or now that everybody's working from home and we have certain expenses that come into play, take an audit of your expenses and what you have to always pay to keep yourself and your business running. If you're working and you have to have software that you pay monthly, and you have equipment that you buy, you have maybe a phone bill that you're paying for, light, electricity, other expenses, that right there has to go into your rate and your value and added to your time rate. Those are easy ways to kind of start to get an idea of how to charge different projects. So, and it takes a while, right? Like it does take you grabbing a sheet of paper or a notebook and creating a table and a chart, writing things down, maybe auditing your day, your hours, your month, your weeks, and having it filled out till you have a comfortable way of measuring it. Meaning, once you have a conversation, if you're new, or maybe if you're not new and you haven't figured it out, and someone says, hey, I have this video I want to do this weekend or next month, how much will you charge me for it? I mean, can you really just throw out a number right away off the top of your head? Maybe not. Maybe you have it in your head, but I wouldn't throw it out there. But you at least have a way to measure it and gauge it, and then have that conversation with the client. Like, okay, yeah, we could, let's talk a little bit more and ask them questions and make them be the speaker and you're the listener, and really you're going to deliver what they need. And you know what they need, and you know what it's going to take you to fulfill it. And then you know how to bill for it. And you know how to bill for it comfortably, in the sense that you don't want to scare them away. But if they're scared away, then it's for a reason, because you don't want those clients then that aren't going to value your time and effort. Now, there are times that we want to do stuff for free or in exchange for maybe exposure, or maybe, there'll be great referrals for work. There's always a time for that. But I think we all have to learn how to measure that. And I don't know how to really give a tip on that, other than you have to know the value of your own time, and really analyze what you can maybe potentially get from that partner or client, and see if it's worth the change in your time. I've worked on plenty of projects that I've done free that really have not amounted to anything, and I've gotten an experience out of it, so I don't see it as a complete negative, while I've worked on others for free, and I've made some great relationships, built a great network, and they have led to other bigger and better things. So that's going to come on a personal experience, how you read people, how you read projects, and really defining and measuring what your goals are and how you want to get there. Like I said, your time, right? I think if you're going to be doing stuff like that for free, I think really align them with your personal and your passion projects. And if there are no free stuff, do it for yourself for free, because you're investing in yourself. Well, I don't know if you guys could hear that. There's somebody outside my window with a flute walking by. Yeah, it stopped, which is pretty good. But yeah, so that was a really awesome conversation I had with Jeff Cortez. Big shout out to the guy. He's really hustling and getting himself out there. So look out for him on social and YouTube, Instagram. He's also pretty good at TikTok, actually. He creates some really cool content and has been finding a way to make TikTok work. I don't know if you guys are in TikTok. I'm not myself, but Jeff is, so follow him. Just a quick shout out to the rest of my crew that's out there, the Cinema Boys we call them, is Adam Dashwood, Michael Serrano, Franco Gutierrez, and Frederick Germany II. Look out for those guys. Also great content creators. We're all part of like a little collaboration team, I guess a creative collective, you could say. And it's cool. I hope if you're listening, guys, big shout out, props. And hopefully we could get some projects going in this next year coming up. And for the rest of you, do you have a group like this, a group of friends that push each other, or a small group, whether it's online or a chat, that is like-minded individuals that you link up with, that you support each other, whether it's with ideas or labor or just helping each other out in a similar industry or field? I think it's really cool. I've been a part of different masterminds myself, and the best ones have been the niche ones. I've been part of like business masterminds, and it's cool to start to speak with different people from different industries or different walks of life. It's very cool to start meeting new people, but eventually you want to gravitate towards those that are working on the same stuff as you, similar projects, and can help each other out in the same vision or direction. So with that, I'll say that I started a mastermind group a while ago, a small community. I was going to come out with some courses, and something happened where I fell off, right? Like I didn't follow through. Maybe I should have started that series then, mentioned it, and I could have pushed myself a bit harder. I did start a community though, and it was called the Digital Collab Network. Yeah, that's what it was, Digital Collab Network on Facebook. And it was for like-minded people that wanted to go in whatever business you were in. It was about digital media, people working on creating websites, creating videos, photos, content. And I wanted to align that with my course, which was also in digital media. And I was teaching, how to start a website, how to create a blog in WordPress, the basics of Photoshop and photo editing, the basic principles of video creation from start to finish, planning, shooting, editing, and publishing. And it all aligned around there. So maybe me speaking about it here today is the push I need to get that going again. And if that interests you, please reach out to me. That'd be very cool. And if you are in different masterminds or groups, maybe leave some in the comments below. I'm always open to being part of some new ones, or especially checking them out and seeing what I could take away and learn from them. One I'm part of right now, I keep mentioning the TV Hosting Academy. I'm part of the Green Room, which is the small group coaching. And I really have a good feeling about this group, and I think I'm going to have a big takeaway from it. So I'm looking forward to developing that more, and looking forward to the next week. This week I produced a video. It was an unboxing for a set of video lights that I picked up. You could see the very vibrant blue in the background here if you're watching. It's the new light I picked up, and I have a small fill light here to the right of me, which they just came in. I just did an unboxing and a review, which I'll be releasing Monday coming up. I have another small video that I'm editing to release as well. So I think progress is moving. Progress is going forward. Goal for myself moving forward is to stay on top of this series every Friday. And I want to release a video every Monday as well. So I don't want to set a huge goal, but it's definitely a measurable goal. So Mondays and Fridays, look out for new content dropping. Fridays, look out for the Today's Progress, Yesterday's Plan podcast / video series. If you're listening, you could also find it on YouTube on my channel, Sharkario. And if you're watching, check out for the podcast now on Spotify and Amazon, and waiting to get it on Pandora and iTunes as well. So I would love your support. I would love your feedback. I'm looking forward to next week, and looking forward to my first guest. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time, and keep your to-do list balanced. All right, I don't know. Cool. That one went by a lot quicker, a lot easier. I'll have to listen back to it and see how I did, but let's get it. Ciao.